Hi and welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, well, it's Noob Go Racing Day 5. So if you haven't seen the previous episodes of this, I'll put a link in the description or I'll put it up here. Go check that out. So Day 5, let's just jump back to Day 4 and what happened at the end of that. And then we can talk about all the upgrades and changes that I've done ready for tonight's racing. So the actual rear shock blew the last time, so I didn't get to do the final, but the car was a lot better. So even though it was a bit of a disaster, the car was feeling much better as dialing in the whole front end was brilliant. The issue was I used way too thick oil in the rear, so when the shock compressed, the actual load on the piston itself and the C-clips, it just pushed it through. So I hadn't actually broken it, so I put it back together again and I've changed the oil. I've gone thinner, so hopefully that's going to fix that. And I know it was too hard at the back, so we've gone a little bit softer. Now I think I've gone 30 weight, which is 350 CST, and I think it was 40. So we've brought it down a reasonable amount. Whether I need to go to 25 weight, we'll just have to wait and see how it goes tonight. But hopefully the rear shock won't fail under loading when we're jumping. I wanted to come down slower. I didn't want to just jump down to 25 weight as if it's just too much. So we'll have to see. So what upgrades have I done since then? Well, quite a few. And you know, if you've seen the previous video, I said the front end was perfect and I shouldn't mess with it. Yeah, I changed loads. So now the car has Cougar 2 front vintage arms on it. Yeah, I spent a bit of money and I picked up about 4 Schumacher Cougar 2 arms. Are they going to make it through the night? I honestly don't know. We'll have to see, but I'm a bit concerned that I'm going to break one, but we'll just have to go with it. I have got replacements so I could carry on for the evening, but hopefully I don't break too many because they're really hard to get hold of. Now, hopefully we're going to get some aftermarket front ones soon, and they're going to be swept as well, so then we can move away from having Cougar 2 vintage ones on racing buggies. Now, I did kind of hope that I would have had the rear upgraded aftermarket arms, but they haven't arrived. I've tried to buy some others from inside the UK as well through JC Racing, and they haven't turned up in time for today, but they'll be on the next episode. But so far, touch wood, I haven't broke any rear ones. I haven't broke any front ones either, but they were the upgraded Cougar ones. So we'll have to see because of my driving. Gets a bit rough around the edges. Anyway, we're kind of jumping ahead of ourselves. So what else have I done? A really big one is the front tower is now carbon. I actually got in contact with the person who sold me the other one on eBay, and I said, could you make me one in carbon, but could you make it 3mm? So that's what he did. He said, yeah, no problem, you can make that work. So he actually did it. I ordered 2 just in case I ever break one, but realistically breaking a 3mm tower in carbon, you're going to have to be going some to really snap that. So I have a real solid upright now. Now the only issue is that in the actual bulkhead at the bottom, there's a slot where the upright sits, and that only takes, say, a 2.5, 2.7. So you have to shave off a tiny little bit across the bottom to slot it in, which I did, and it's perfect and it feels really solid. I've still got a couple of spaces at the rear to have the upright at a certain angle, as I found putting some spaces in and bringing the whole bulkhead forward a little bit seemed to help with the steering. That also allowed me to extend the front suspension. Now the front suspension leans back, so imagine that's the tower, it leans back like this, but what you really want it to be is almost the same, so that you've got, when the arm travels, it travels directly up and down the shock, not kind of leaning into the shock. But if you extend the top and you bring it out, the gap at the top you have to put a bolt through, which I've done here. That puts a lot more loading on the tower, and it's much easier to snap the tower, hence the 3mm thick, and also it stops any flex. So the front suspension is now rock solid, but also trued up nicely. I'll put some images up so you can see it. Also, I put a little bit extra weight over the nose. Now this might have been a bit overkill, because when you fit the Cougar 2 arms, you actually shorten the wheelbase of the Cougar. I was quite surprised just how much. So now the front arms are sitting well kind of behind the actual weights that you put in the front. So having the weights now sitting in front of the wheels is going to make a big difference. So we're going to have to see how we go on that. Apparently it means you get much more toe in with the Cougar 2 arms, and that was a massive upgrade from the Cougar to the Cougar 2 back in the day. So we'll have to see. But if you remember back, the actual steering was brilliant anyway. So we'll have to see how it changes the car, but we'll find out tonight when we run it around a track. I have taken it out in the street just to true it all back up again to make sure everything is tracking nicely and I've got full turn and there's nothing binding or anything, and it seems to be okay. So it'll be really interesting to see how it goes. Also, on top of that, on the front, one thing I was suffering from was popping a lot of tie rods. All the time, every race I pop one, so then someone has to fiddle around, you know, one of the marshals helps you out and tries to put it back, and it's a faff. So what I've done is on the front, I've actually put captive ball joints on the outsides, but left the insides. Now, because my driving is not that good, I was very worried about doing captive because you want something to give when you hit something. But after talking to a few guys at the track, they have actually left the inside with ball joints and the outside are captive. So that's what I've done. So if you do hit something, the ball joint on the inside hopefully will be the failure point, but then you won't lose the actual tie rod. And twice I actually lost the tie rod. Once I had to wait to the end when we packed it all up and someone found it for me, and another time it was like a minute into a race and we just managed to find it. So I didn't want that to happen. So worst case scenario, it pops a ball joint, you can put it back on again without losing it. But two, hopefully it won't pop as much. That's the theory. Otherwise I might bend stuff. While I changed the front arms, the pivot pins, I changed those. They were a little bit bent. And I've also shimmed them up from the underside. And I've shimmed everything up again like it was previously when I changed everything. So the front is now really nice and, you know, tight. There's not much play left in it, which is excellent. Another thing that I've done, so that's changed the whole front end, so who knows how it's going to behave. Anyway, and to put some extra into that, I've taken out the radio link transmitter receiver and I've put my Fly Sky in. Some people have recommended trying that. And the receiver that I've got doesn't have an aerial in it, which is lovely, so I can clean up all that and get rid of the whole aerial sticking out of it. So that's definitely a big plus for me, and hopefully it's going to perform well and I'm going to like it. Now, I got in contact with Radio Link and I said, hey, I'm getting glitching in FHSS2, but when I drop back to FHSS, it's fine. And they said, well, they've got an upgraded version 2 of the receiver, which is the R8FG receiver. There's a version 2 of it. So they said to me, before I do a review on it, can they send me the version 2? And then I can try that for racing as well. Now, the issue is the FHSS version 1 is nowhere near as high fidelity as the FHSS 2. So really, you want to be racing in that. But of course, the glitching I was getting was not helping me at all. So that's why I've swapped it out for today. So we're going to see how the Fly Sky performs. Now, some people really say it's a great improvement and other people say they still get some glitching and stuff. We'll just have to wait and see in this car. Some other smaller changes. I've changed the rear wing mounts. I'm now using the flexible mount and it's much lower. So I thought I would give those a go as well. I have ordered a hard polycarbonate, I don't know if it's plastic, I think. A bit like the kind of thing you see on the mid. So I picked up one of those from JC Racing. That hasn't turned up in time, so that will be on the next one to try. So I'm giving this one a go at the moment. It's much lower, and I did change the wing, and I did try another wing. Didn't really like it, so I went back to this. I've been slowly changing more bits and pieces for titanium. All the tie rods now are all titanium. I was missing some and then I've finally got them all sorted. Some things I've changed at the rear of the car. Now, I haven't fitted the actual aluminium bulkhead that was given to me because that's a massive job of stripping it down. Now, I did pick up a few other bits and pieces, so I'm hoping to just strip the whole back of the car out in the next video. But being that I've changed so much already, I don't want to keep changing too much in one go. I think I've overdone it already again. So I'm kind of waiting. I have changed the slipper plates. They're now the vented ones. Not that I was getting any issues with it getting too hot or anything. Also, I've changed the bearing mounts now. I got those from Custom RC Parts. They've arrived, which is the bearing holders. so I fitted those, and that's as far as it got in the rear, but I will strip it all the way down to fit this. And also I have the metal plates that go inside that I bought from Schumacher, and I put them somewhere safe and sound, and now I can't find them. Yeah, I don't know what I've done with them, so I'm hoping I'm going to find those before I have to strip down the whole gearbox, because you basically got to get right into the ball diff to actually swap them over. But hey, we'll do that maybe in the next one. I think that pretty much covers all the upgrades that I've done so far. So all we've got to do now is take it racing. So wish me luck. So I just had a practice and it went okay, but I managed to pop a ball joint, which is not good. I just changed a few of them so that they wouldn't do that, but I just clipped something and it popped it again. So I'm going to have to take it easy, otherwise I'm going to keep popping ball joints. So I'll have to sort that out. I thought I dialed it out, but guess not. But the car's running super smooth, really chuffed with it. So let's just see how round one goes. This is race one. I am car number 4. As you can see, I forget to put away when my number's called, so I've dropped back a little bit, making a little tiny mistake already, but I'm sitting currently in 3rd position. Yeah, right up to the point where I went too fast over the 3 bumps and it flipped the car over. And this is something I'll have to watch for the whole evening, as the rear shocks in this are on 30 weight and it's too thick. So the rear of the car is bouncing up in the air. Now I managed to pull forward a little bit, but I made a mistake, so I'm now sitting in 3rd, I think. Now I've got a bit of free open space, so I'm trying to hunt down 2nd position. You can see the car is just not happy going over those 3 bumps. There is 2nd position, so I'm about 4 or 5 seconds behind, so I need to get a bit of a move on to catch him up. And that is the yellow and red orange car you see. Now he makes a mistake, so I catch up. So he's now in my sights, which is fantastic. So it's a bit more reasonable for me. He makes another mistake off the tabletop, so I'm right on him. And now that car goes flying past me, luckily not taking me out. So I'm on him, and I cut through, and I'm now sitting in 2nd place. Now what I'm going to do is hunt down 1st place. Now jumping off of that ramp there, I need to back off. I'm jumping too hard and then I'm taking the corner too sharp. The tight curves here really suit this car. That's a back marker I managed to pass without too much trouble. As you can see down the straights, it's now got lots of power, but I'm definitely having a problem with these 3 bumps. This section here is my favourite section. I am the fastest, so this is where I really make up a lot of time. I have to take it easy over the tabletop. We now skip forward as nothing's really happened, and I'm now chasing down to lap the yellow and orange car again. Now car number 1 has dropped out. As you can see, I overcooked it quite a bit there trying to get past him. Yeah, you've got to pace yourself and take your time. It's very easy to overcook it. So because the car number 1 dropped back, I think that's now put me up into position 1. Another car goes out with an issue, and I'm chasing down the yellow and orange, trying to get past him again. Now I cut through on the inside, he gave me plenty of room. Now the car that was number 1, I think, is what's sitting right behind me now. I think he had issues and had to stop. But he's out of, I don't know if he's on the same lap as me, I'm not sure. But the car's going really well. It's just me settling down into this track. Obviously I've never driven this track before. Make another little mistake. I have to be very calm over the tabletop, as if I put my foot down a little bit too much, I'll just come off. See, I'm managing to hold off car position 1, which is the yellow and orange one behind me. And I think due to him stopping, it then puts me in first place. So that was race 1 out of the way, and I did really well. I didn't push too hard, and I actually ended up in position 1, so I'm super chuffed. It's the first time I've ever ended up in position. Put a little bit more camber on the rear as recommended, so I'm going to try that, and then we'll see how we go in round 2. But super stoked, and the car is really nice. Definitely need to put softer oil in the rear, as over the 3 bumps the back is bouncing up in the air, it can't cope with it, so I'm definitely going to go from the 30 weight down to the 25 weight for next time. This is qualifying race 2. Only changes is negative camber on the rear, and straight away making mistakes pulling away, but I managed to go up into 4th place. I think I'm now behind a vintage Cougar.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then I hit him. So slowing down. We're still in the same positions. Now I'm up into 3rd, but gave them some time to pull away. So I'm now hunting down 2nd place, which is that yellow car that you can see on the bottom left. Now I'm hoping he's going to make a mistake. Down the straights I can catch up a bit of speed, better time. Then I make a little mistake being too tight on that corner, but I'm slowly reeling him in. I think he makes a mistake. Yeah, makes a mistake. I catch him up a little bit more, so do I, so that puts me right back again. But he's not too far ahead. Then I make another mistake. Yeah, the pressure was on trying to catch that 2nd place, and I'm about to be lapped. So that's 1st place passing me there, and now I'm trying to hunt down 2nd place, but he's pulled away a little bit. So now I need to really put my foot down a little bit to try and catch him up, and hopefully he'll make a mistake. I'm trying to stick with the 1st position so that being a fast car is pulling me along as well. But you always find that if you're driving behind a fast car, you will actually drive better yourself. So I'm slowly reeling in 2nd place. Now you've got a back marker there as well, which slows down the position 1. And then they have a mistake, and I sneak through the legs of the marshal. I unlap myself, and I take 2nd place. Now 1st place is behind me, but he's a lap ahead. So now I'm trying to keep him behind me. We skip forward a little bit, and I'm still sitting in 2nd place, no real changes. Position 1 is still behind me. Everything's settled down a little bit now, a couple of back markers ahead of me. I have to be really careful over those 3 bumps. A few back markers to overtake, so I have to be a bit careful. I managed to nip through, that's 1, and now I need to clear the other back marker, and I make a mistake, and that's the end of the race.
Oh, you got me.
So that was race 2, and a much more of an improvement. The tip to do the extra camber on the rear definitely paid off. We just checked my best time over my best consistent time over 10 laps, and it was almost a 2nd a lap faster, but I was 2nd in that one. I made one big mistake when I fell off the tabletop, and that cost me about 5-6 seconds. But apart from that, it's running really nicely. Definitely need to put lighter oil in the rear, because over the 3 bumps I'm definitely lifting at the rear. But apart from that, it's definitely improving, and the car is lovely. Qualifying race 3, no changes to the car, and we pull away in 3rd position. Now I've got to hunt down the yellow and orange car in front of me, and I overcooked it a little bit on the 3 bumps, but I managed to pull it back in this section as that's where I'm the fastest, and I'm sitting on him. trying to hunt down second place, doing okay. Fourth place is right behind me, so we're all kind of matching each other at this moment. Now I can squeeze a little bit closer to him through those sections, and then he pulls away a little bit here, but I can keep up with him. So I'm right on him to come into second place. I have to slow down a little bit there, so he pulls ahead again, and then the carpet grabs me, so that bumped me back a little bit, which is a bit of a very random one. But I'm still there, still in my position. I'm desperately trying not to make a mistake, but the pressure is building to try and catch him and make a little bit of a mistake going too far there. Keep away from the carpet. I'm still sitting in second position. We get into some of the back markers now. Now I'm on it, and I make a big mistake. Yes, I tried to get past the back marker, so that's dropped me back into third position now. So and I make another mistake, yes, costing me lots of time. So I'm now right down in third position, and now I've got to hunt down, and I make another mistake and another mistake. Yes, and then what happens is I've actually popped two of the tie rods at the front, which is why the car was going all over the place. And as you can see, I basically burned through the best part of a full minute. Yeah, they're not easy to pop back on again, and apparently both of them have gone on the front. So yeah, now I am down in pretty much last place. We now skip forward towards the end of the race. I tried to pull back as much time as I could, and I actually managed to get past one person again, but losing a whole minute of a race pretty much finishes your race. So definitely got to do something about those ball joints. So out of the whole night, that was probably my worst mistake, and that cost me dearly in this race. As you can see, I'm still ragged as I'm trying to lean on it a bit more to try and catch up as much time as I can, but it's just the race is finished.
That was a bit disappointing. Drops to stay fast. Yeah.
So that was race 3, and yeah, I hit something and the ball cup popped off the front, and I lost like 4 laps, so it pushed me all the way down, so I was second to last. But I did get the fastest lap of the race, which shows the car is fast, and if I can stop it popping ball joints, which I have a plan to get rid of the last couple of ball joints, then I should be alright. But you know, that's racing, I guess. Sometimes it just goes against you, but the car's fast, so I'm super chuffed with that. Now, because of that disastrous last round, I am in the B final and I'm in pole position. Then we kick off straight away and I missed the tone, so I got smashed into behind. So I instantly dropped back into third position. Now it's all a bit frantic, this is an out-and-out race, and I'm sitting in third position. So trying to keep it cool, trying to be relaxed. Just sit behind them and wait for them to make a mistake, don't overcook it. Still sitting there hoping that they're going to hit each other and make a mistake, and then I can push through. Don't do anything silly. I'm probably at about 80% now, and they hit each other and I managed to sneak through. Yeah, grabbing first position. Now I realise that the pressure's building, that I'm in pole position, and they're a good few corners behind, so I've got a bit of breathing room. Now I've just got to pace myself, so I actually calm it down a little bit, but I know I'm in pole position, so the stress level is going up, and I'm desperately trying not to make a mistake and just keep it clean. If I keep it clean and I go at about 85% of what I can do, then it gives me time for them to make another mistake. So I'm trying to keep it tidy. Now I'm holding them off at the moment, so it's not so bad. But we're going to come around to start to meet some of the back markers soon, so then I'm starting to stress that the back markers, I make a bit of a mistake, I roll over, but I manage to get away with it without losing too much time. They are slowly reeling me in, as you can see, make another little tiny mistake there. Now we're coming down to the back markers. That's the second position just over there. First back marker to pass. He makes a mistake, leaving it wide open for me, which was brilliant. I remember thinking, thank God for that. I didn't lose any time on that back marker. And I'm pulling away. Now the pressure feels like it's going down a little bit because I've got decent space between them, and I'm just winning the end of the race. And we're coming up to another back marker, but I'm holding them off. So I'm sitting quite comfortably at the moment. And then I flip the car and I start panicking. It's like, no. So I give him a chance to catch me up. So that's second place to just there in the camera that you can see. So now the pressure's back on again to pull away a little bit. So I have to put my foot down just a little bit more and take a bit more of a risk. And I make it overcook it on that one. And then I go too fast over the 3 humps, and I can really feel the pressure of position 2 right behind me now. So I'm desperate to pull away and not make any more mistakes. So I take it easy over the 3rd bumps, then I go fast through my section that I like. Gives me a little bit more of a margin, but I'm coming up on back markers and he's only 2 corners behind me. Back marker lets me go nicely so I don't slow me down. Then there's a back marker in front of me and one behind. Now I go through my fast section, which I really enjoy, and I'm right on the Pro Cat. Now I'm hoping I can just get straight past the Pro Cat without hitting anything. I'm sitting right on him at the moment. Now I've got a little bit more space. I've managed to pull away from second position a little bit, so the pressure's coming down again, but these back markers worry me a lot. So I'm hoping that they're going to take each other out. So I'm just sitting there waiting at the moment. I don't push too hard to get past them. I just wait and I wait. I'm right on the vintage Cougar. And I hope I'm going to pass him down the straights, because if I can get past him on the straights, it will make my life easier. But I overcook it and let him pass again. So the pressure's on, but I have my second place behind me. Is still a reasonable way off now, so I've just got to get past this back marker. So I'm sitting basically at his pace at the moment, and I'll try and overtake him again, and this time I'll get past him. And now I need to keep my foot down a little bit, but I don't know whether second position is still sitting about the same, so I'm okay. He's not gaining and he's not falling back. Give it a burst of power, try not to overcook it on the corner. And I think second position made a mistake because he's now a good half a lap down, so the pressure's off. All I've got to do is coast it in and try not make a big mistake. So we jump forward and we're coming to the last couple of laps, and overall of the whole day this was my best race. I managed to do 20 laps. I'll make a little mistake right on the end, typical, on the last little section, and that's it, race over, and it's my first ever win. I finally did it. I actually won a final. Yes, I know it's a B final, but it's nice to be up there and actually win one. Super chuffed. A lot of tips and tricks from everybody at the racetrack, helping me get the car dialed in, and a few more upgrades, and the car is now becoming much more fun and easier to drive, as well as being much faster. Now, I wasn't pushing that hard. I was trying to calm down a little bit, so really I was along the 85 to 90% mark, so there's definitely more speed in the car. It's just down to me. Now, I had a look at the A final, and I looked at people that were in the sort of 3rd and 4th place, and they're not that far ahead. So my next goal is to get into an A final. That's the first one. Not win it, just get into it. But the car is coming along brilliantly. We still have some upgrades coming in the next episode, and then hopefully the car's going to plateau out, and then I'm just going to improve over time. So stick around if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification and subscribe if you haven't, because in the next episode, day 6, we're going racing again. Bye bye.